glad you're here. If you spent your working life as a teacher, a police officer, a firefighter, or any public employee with a government pension, and your Social Security check has always come in smaller than you thought it should, this is the one video you cannot skip. By the end of it, you will know whether the government owes you a benefit increase and a lump sum check right now, and the exact step to claim it. A law that took full effect last year restored Social Security to more than 3 million retired public workers. Some of them are owed back pay of more than $14,000. And a year later, many of them still have not seen a dime. Here is why this matters this month, not next year. For more than 40 years, two separate rules, buried inside the Social Security Act, cut or completely erased the benefits of public retirees who also earned a pension. Both rules are gone now. The repeal reaches back to January 2024, which means every month of restored benefits since then is money the Social Security Administration owes you. But the back pay only runs to January 2024, not a day further. The higher monthly benefit you miss while your record sits uncorrected is gone for good. By the end of this video, you will know what the repeal restored, how to confirm the Social Security Administration has actually fixed your file, and 3 specific ways to turn this change into the largest check you are legally entitled to. Before we get into it, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. The Social Security Administration does not call you when a law changes in your favor. This repeal was signed quietly, and a full year later, thousands of eligible retirees still have not seen a single dollar of it. The rules around claiming shift every year. Deadlines pass without warning. Nobody at the agency is watching your file for you. I read the actual statute, so you know exactly what you are owed before the chance to claim it slips by. Let me tell you precisely what changed. For decades, 2 provisions reduced Social Security for people who had earned a pension from a job that did not pay into the system. The first was the windfall elimination provision, the WEP. It cut the retirement benefit of anyone who paid into Social Security at some jobs, but earned a government pension at another. The second was the government pension offset, the GPO. It slashed the spousal or survivor benefit by 2/3 of the person's government pension, which in many cases wiped that benefit out entirely. Together, these 2 rules reduced Social Security for roughly 3.2 million retired public workers. Teachers, firefighters, police officers, and federal employees under the older civil service retirement system were hit the hardest. Neither of these rules was an accident. The WEP was written into law in 1983. The GPO came even earlier, in 1977. For more than 40 years, they quietly took money from people who had paid into the system with their own earnings, simply because those same people had also served the public and earned a pension for it. You did the work. You paid the taxes on the covered jobs. The formula reduced your check anyway. That was the design. It stood for 4 decades, before Congress finally undid it. On January 5th, 2025, the Social Security Fairness Act was signed into law. The statute is Public Law 119-3. It repealed both the WEP and the GPO outright, and it made the repeal retroactive to January 2024. For an affected retiree, the restored amount runs up to $587 more every month. That is $7,044 a year restored for the rest of your life. And because the law reaches back to January 2024, the back pay owed to a single retiree can climb past $14,000 in one lump sum. This is not a small program. By the middle of 2025, the agency had already paid out more than $17 billion in restored benefits and back pay across more than 3 million corrected records. Now here is the trap. It is the reason this video exists. The Social Security Administration is not automatically fixing every record on its own and mailing every check. The agency has processed millions of these adjustments, but a meaningful number of eligible retirees have been missed. Some never got the letter. Some have records that require a manual correction by hand, and some never even claimed Social Security in the first place because the old WEP made their benefit so small it seemed pointless. Think about who that leaves behind. The retirees most likely to still be waiting are the oldest ones. The people in their late 70s and 80s, the ones least likely to be checking a government website or scrolling social media for the news. If you are in any of those groups, or you love someone who is, the money is sitting there, and it will keep sitting there until somebody acts. So here is exactly what to do. Go to ssa.gov/fairness and read the current status of your situation. If you have not received a letter from the Social Security Administration confirming your new higher benefit amount, you need to make contact. Call the agency directly at 1-800-772-1213 or walk into your local Social Security office in person. Tell them you are covered by the Social Security Fairness Act and you need your record reviewed and recalculated. If you stopped claiming or never claimed because the old rules gutted your benefit, tell them that too. Your numbers are completely different now. When you make that call, have a few things ready, because it makes the difference between a fast fix and a runaround. Have your Social Security number in front of you. Have the name and the type of your government pension, the state teacher's retirement system, a municipal police pension, the federal civil service retirement system. Whatever it is, have a rough idea of the years you worked in jobs that did pay into Social Security. The representative is going to look at whether the old WEP or the GPO ever touched your record, and these details let them find it quickly. Ask one direct question. Has my benefit been recalculated under the Social Security Fairness Act? And if not, when will it be? Write down the date you called and the name of the person you spoke with. If nothing moves in a few weeks, call back and reference that date. Persistence is the whole game here, because the file that gets fixed is the file somebody follows up on. There is one more thing to watch. The back pay arrives as a separate lump sum, sometimes before the monthly increase shows up, sometimes after, and sometimes in pieces. Do not assume that because a deposit landed, your record is fully corrected. Confirm two things separately. One, that your ongoing monthly amount is now the higher figure. Two, that the retroactive amount covering the month since January 2024 has actually been paid. People have seen one without the other and assumed the job was done. This next part matters because the size of your check often depends on where you taught or served. The states with the largest public pension systems that never paid into Social Security are the ones where this repeal lands hardest. In Ohio, retired teachers under the state teachers' retirement system are among the most affected people in the entire country. Illinois, California, Massachusetts, Colorado, and Louisiana all have huge public workforces that sat outside the Social Security system for their entire careers. If you live in one of those states, the odds that the old rules touched you are very high. To find out exactly how your record was treated, search your state name along with the words Teacher Retirement System and Social Security, or simply ask the agency directly when you call. The first move to maximize this is one almost nobody connects to the repeal. If you have not started your benefit yet, every year you wait past your full retirement age adds 8% to your monthly check, permanently all the way up to age 70. Those are called delayed retirement credits. Here is what changed. That 8% now stacks on top of the restored higher base amount, not the old reduced one. The bigger your starting number, the bigger every delayed credit becomes. Run the math for a moment. If the repeal restored your benefit to $1,000 a month at your full retirement age, waiting 3 years to 70 adds 24%, which is $240 more, every month for the rest of your life. Under the old rules, that same multiplier was working on a gutted number. Now it works on the real one. For anyone born in 1960 or later, full retirement age is now 67, and the last of that phase-in ends this year. The 2026 cost of living increase added 2.8% on top of everything, bringing the average retired worker benefit to $2,032 a month. One word of caution if you claim early and still work. In 2026, the earnings limit before the agency withholds part of your benefit is $24,480. If you are still teaching part-time or picking up shifts, know that number before you file, because earning over it while claiming early temporarily holds back part of your check. The second move is for widows and widowers, and it is the most overlooked piece of this entire law. The repeal of the government pension offset means that if you have a government pension and you lost a spouse, you may now be owed a full survivor benefit that the old rule erased completely. Picture a retired teacher whose late husband paid into Social Security his whole career in the private sector. Under the old GPO, her survivor benefit was reduced by 2/3 of her teaching pension, often down to nothing. A pension of $3,000 a month, under the old rule, knocked $2,000 off any spousal or survivor benefit she tried to claim. For most government retirees, that math erased the benefit entirely. Under the repeal, she can claim that full survivor benefit now. Apply to the Social Security Administration as soon as you can, because the back pay runs to January 2024, and the monthly amount you skip is lost. For a complicated case, a Social Security claiming strategist or an elder law attorney can map the best order to claim. You do not have to figure the whole thing out alone. Let me show you how this works on one real feeling person. Dorothy Sims is 64 years old and lives in Dayton, Ohio. She taught 4th grade in the same public school district for 32 years. She still keeps the gradebook she used on her very first day in September of 1989. Dorothy did everything right. She contributed to the state teachers' retirement system. Out of every single paycheck, she paid off her house, and she worked summers at a private tutoring center to build up Social Security credits on the side. Her teaching pension pays $2,800 a month. Her house is paid off. She lost her husband 3 years ago. Here is what nobody told Dorothy. Because of those summers tutoring, she had earned a Social Security benefit of $980 a month. But the old windfall elimination provision cut it down to $390. She never questioned it. She assumed that was simply the rule. For years, she budgeted around that smaller number, trimming where she could, telling herself that was just how it worked for teachers. Then her daughter, Karen, who is 38, saw a post about the repeal on Facebook and called her mother to ask if her check had gone up. Dorothy had no idea anything had changed. No letter had come. No one from the agency had called. She called the Social Security Administration, told them she was a public retiree covered by the Fairness Act, and asked them to review her record. They corrected it. Her benefit went back to the full $980. That is $590 more every month, $7,080 more a year, plus a back pay check of $14,160, covering the months since January 2024. Over 5 years, the restored benefit alone is worth more than $35,000. That is roughly 2.5 years of grocery bills for one person, or 15 years of Medicare Part B premiums. And Dorothy almost never knew to ask. The only reason she found out was a phone call from her daughter. Most people do not get that phone call. That is the entire reason to make this one yourself. So let me bring it all together. 2 rules, the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset, reduced Social Security for more than 3 million public retirees for over 40 years. Both were repealed by the Social Security Fairness Act, retroactive to January 2024. The agency is not fixing every record automatically, so go to ssa.gov/fairness, and if you have not gotten a letter confirming your new amount, call 1-800-772-1213 or visit your local office. If you have not claimed yet, delaying past full retirement age now grows a bigger restored base by 8% a year, up to age 70. If you are a widow or widower with a government pension, the end of the government pension offset may have just handed you a full survivor benefit that the old rule erased. None of it arrives on its own. You have to claim it. If this video helped you, please subscribe and pass it along to someone you know who taught school, worked in public safety, or served in a government job and lives on a pension. One phone call to the Social Security Administration could put thousands of dollars back in their hands. Share it with them today, and I'll see you in the next one.